In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I built a brand in one video for one of my clients, in one of the most competitive industries in business, from averaging 300 views to over 200,000 views, all through a branding strategy which allowed him not only to book calls with seven-figure brands, but become a recognized face in his space in a matter of days.
You're gonna see us build his brand identity, find his unique style, and build his positioning in his market. We'll be showing you how we found the viral concept, how we produced the video, and the results we achieved. We're gonna be basically showing you everything, so let's dive right in.
So this is Omar. Over the past 5 years, Omar has worked with over 50 e-commerce brands, helping them generate millions in revenue. But he had a problem. Despite his track record, after posting over 130 YouTube videos, his brand was stuck. 700 subscribers, low views, and low conversions.
He needed to find a way to stand out from the sea of competition, attract seven-figure brands, and find his unique brand positioning. So here's where we came in. We partnered up together with one objective in mind: blowing up his brand. So here's what we did. There's many elements that go into building a one-of-a-kind brand. The colors, the typographies, the visuals, but all of them serve one single purpose: building something unique. See, uniqueness has been the relentless obsession of every big brand and artist. It's the difference between the names you remember and the ones you forget. But if you look closer, how unique you are always comes down to one thing: your positioning. The space your brand occupies in their audience's minds and hearts.
To build Omar's brand, there was one main question we had to answer: how do we want him to be remembered? And to do so, we had to immerse ourselves in Omar's world to understand what makes Omar, Omar. So we got to work. The team spent hours gathering all the information we could find: Omar's background in engineering, the key metrics of his business, even his deep love for the Lord of the Rings. But to know where he could stand out, we also had to analyze his competition, watching hundreds of creators, agencies, and videos in his niche.
And after hours and hours of research, we reached one conclusion: everyone was doing the exact same content. See, attention moves like a pendulum. When someone does something different, they stand out. Then everyone copies that thing, maybe a trend, maybe a style, and the uniqueness completely disappears. This cycle repeats itself, and in Omar's industry, it was the exact same story. Same titles, same thumbnails, and same boring ideas.
But as we dug deeper, something started to stand out.
More and more e-commerce brands were trying to look premium,
to be perceived as a high-end choice.
And that's when we realized Omar didn't really need to compete for attention against thousands of copies in his market.
He needed to own the concept of premium, to become the face that defines how premium brands advertise.
That was the gap in the market, and that became his positioning.
Every great brand has a signature, a feeling that lives even in the smallest details: the colors, the sounds, the design. Red for Ferrari, the pursuit of passion. Apple's white space, the expression of simplicity. Porsche's engineering, made for performance. These brands feel premium because every element behind their creation works together to build their brand IP, the unique DNA that makes them unforgettable. But their identity isn't just visual. There's 3 layers behind the identity of every brand.
Identity is the visual layer of the brand: the colors, the typography, and the imagery that makes it instantly recognizable. But for Omar, his identity couldn't only look premium. It needed to feel like the intersection between math and psychology. We drew inspiration from Cartier's elegance, Ferrari's performance, and Chanel's timeless refinement. Every typeface reflected minimalism. Every shape was rounded, deliberate, and aesthetically pleasing. The visuals weren't random either. Black and white portraits of Einstein and Oppenheimer, images of science, and vintage marketing campaigns guided the aesthetic. And the colors, red, black, and white, they balanced intensity, clarity, and timelessness. We built a visual language designed to embody both science and emotion.
Obsolete in the sense of people.
Voice is the verbal layer, how a brand speaks, explains, and connects to the public. For Omar, it had to mirror his positioning: an engineer who understands psychology and branding. His tone needed to analyze the art of a brand like a science, and break down the science of brands like an art. Every caption, script, and video needed to convey clarity and authority, finding a sweet spot between combining technical and emotional. Essence is the invisible, emotional layer, the energy and values that make a brand memorable. Omar's essence was clarity, the ability to see patterns that others might miss, to translate complexity into understanding. We wanted his brand to be built around mastery, focus, and seeing beyond the obvious. This was the soul of his brand IP, the lens through every decision was made, every visual and word filtered.
Once these 3 layers aligned, we have what we've been looking for. We had a brand. Now it was time to bring it all together. There's this feeling that comes with seeing old vintage ads. Marlboro in the 70s, Old Chanel, or even Playboy, they had something that new brands lack. Today, everything feels duller. There's no emotion or intensity, it lacks soul. Back then, brands had a presence that made people feel, one that only a few modern brands have really been able to replicate. So we started asking ourselves, why did these brands have so much presence? What makes it so that only a few modern brands can achieve this? What is the psychology of premium branding? That question became the spark for Omar's video.
We dove into research, gathering inspiration from the heritage principles behind brands like Packard Motor Company, Chanel, and even Espresso. We studied their visuals, their storytelling, and everything that made them premium. We also studied how modern brands use these principles in their products to evoke that same feeling.
We had the concept, now we just needed to package it. For the design, we applied all the concepts that we put together during the branding strategy. They all fell into place using the style of premium brands that people were looking to understand.
Once the video was done and recorded, it came time for the final stage, post-production. Once again, we took all the branding elements and applied it to the end. The white space, the high quality visuals, the sound effects, minimalism across the 17 minutes of video.
More than good design. They've actually mastered.
The goal was to craft an experience, and that's exactly what we did. Finally, launch day came, and it was time to see if all the effort that we put in finally paid off.
And it worked. Omar's video blew up, gathering more than 200,000 views in the span of 2 weeks. Tens of calls, hundreds of comments praising his work, and countless DMs of people wanting to work with him.
You can imagine Omar's surprise. After working with multiple agencies and posting over 130 YouTube videos, nothing really seemed to click. Then, just after 2 weeks of working with us, his very first video took him from 700 to almost 10,000 subscribers, getting millions of impressions. This is the power of building a brand, and doing so in one video.